All right, everybody. Good morning. I hope my microphone works, but good morning. Welcome to Guy Atchison's Reinventing the Tattoo Community, a place for tattooers, apprentices, and collectors to unite under all things tattoo. We encourage that you join in these live stream events and real world events where we offer a new option with connecting with each other for the better. From developing your art to getting down to the technical with your skills, surrounded by like-minded peers, you can see us beaming out with events every day, from live tattooing to drawing groups and one-on-one classes. I want to thank everyone joining in from YouTube, Facebook, or Vimeo, and special shout out to anyone listening via podcast. Our event schedule and notifications can be found on the free Reinventing the Tattoo Apple or Google Play stores, or directly online at the community.reinventingthetattoo.com. All of these episodes can be found on demand in the folder section. If you can hear us, be sure to tag us and a friend who may benefit from this experience and knowledge as well as yourself. We here at Reinventing the Tattoo are beaming out to 5 channels 24/7. If you go to reinventing247.com, you can enter to win a free goodie bag that has some gifts from Raw, Cheyenne, and Dallas Pro. For those who don't know, we have several shows, including this one. We have Sunday at 1 p.m. with Jason Leeser. Sunday at 9 p.m. is the Tattoo Weekly with Gabe, Lauren, and Jake Meeks of Fireside. Monday morning at 9 a.m. is the Monday Morning Drawing Group, which is right now. 9 p.m. Monday with Guy Atchison. That's his one-on-one drawing class, subscribers only edition. So that is something that I think everybody should check out, and you definitely won't be upset by it. Tuesday at 10 a.m. is Ricardo Sturdivant and his drawing class. We got Wednesdays at noon is the Tattoo Now show with Gabe. Thursdays at 10 a.m. is the Thursday Morning Fundamentals with myself as well. Thursdays at noon is the Tattoo Collecting Podcast with Fawn Baker and Jordan Lucas. And mention more contents from Andre Malcolm to BJ Betts. All this you can find at courses.reinventingthetattoo.com. Thank you for making this free from our sponsors. WorldTattooEvents.com, updated events around the world, especially with COVID going on. If you're in the tattoo industry or you're a collector and you want to go to conventions this year, that's the best way to figure out if they're going to be canceled, postponed, or what's going to be happening. JetStencils.com, making stenciling easier with a mess-free print system, easier on yourself and your apprentice to get the job done. And of course, thank you to Rob Pigments at robpigments.co. Thank you so much, Lauren. She's over at the Tampa Villain Arts show right now. She's doing a great job. Her booth looks amazing. Dealize Pro or dealizepro.com. Help tattoo clients around the globe. And Gabe Ripley of Tattoo Now. He's been doing that for 25 years and he's rocking on. And of course, GuyAtchison.com. He's got his prints, he's got his books, machines, artwork, all that fun stuff you can find of his right on his website. And thank you to our affiliates, ecofriendlytattoosupplies.com, Apprenticeship Diaries, and Fireside Tattoos. Our real world events happening around the globe, coming up later this month, or not this month, it's still October, Jesus. Happening in November is Belgium. Gabe and Ivana are doing seminars. I myself was going to be going, but we planned on doing it next year, just with everything going on, just make it a little bit easier. Next May is Hell City. Next July is River City Tattoo Invitational. Next October is the Paradise Tattoo Gathering. That is something you definitely don't want to miss. If you'd like to host, go to management at reinventingthetattoo.com. Other than that, welcome to the show. This is the Monday Morning Drawing Group. My name is Kire Franklin. I am your host. Today we got our good friends, Ricardo and Jason. You guys want to say hi?
Good morning.
Good morning. How is everybody doing?
Pretty good. Doing pretty good.
So seems like you're getting an early start to the day in your shop.
Oh yeah, I've been here for a little while. Hey, Jason.
You and Jason matched today.
It's
What
the
do you know?
power of plaid.
The old flannel.
You know,
I've gone straight to plaid.
Yeah, that's the season. 'Tis the season, right? I will say though, Jason, you know how much I make fun of you for your watch obsession. And like several times this week, I've told myself, maybe a watch is a good idea, because I'm always asking myself during tattoos, what time is it? It's like, and it'd be great if I just had a watch to look at what time it was.
There's a reason why.
Yeah. So I condemn you, sir. Watches are important.
They are.
Not just the digital Apple watches, the nice fancy Rolexes with the
Rolex.
diamond spins.
You can't go wrong with a good Molex, a good Folex, a Romex. Romexes are great.
A Bowflex.
A Bowflex. I mean, wearing a Bowflex on your watch?
And we got Bruno too. Hello, Bruno.
Wow, it's like a
Hey,
mini
hey,
paradise.
what's up, guys?
I know, right? I feel
What's
like
up,
we were
Bruno?
tattooing together.
Morning, Ricardo, Kire, Jason. What's up, guys?
Good morning,
everybody
everybody.
Good morning. Good morning.
So, I actually have an important question to ask you guys.
Mm-hmm.
You can turn off now? Come on, stop it. There we go. So, and it's a question that I posed to Faith when she joined me in my session yesterday.
Okay.
And it's something that I've really been trying to clarify a lot more in my own life. So I wanted to kind of get your opinions on it, and just see what you guys thought. I posed the question the other day, or I made a statement about how I've come to the realization that, like, how I identify myself in life in relationship to other people is as a tattoo artist, right? And because I identified that way to other people, that has become my primary focus in life, right? Everything else is kind of cool, but like, what's my primary focus, right? And doing better tattoos has become primary focus. So do you guys find yourself with the same kind of mindset? Or is that just me? Maybe I've been licking too many toads.
No, I mean, no,
No such a thing.
that's not.
Bruno's like, no, you
You
can
can't
never
lick too many
toads.
toads.
Yeah,
There's
I've
always
licked
another
four.
toe that you can lick, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Especially around Bruno's parts, there's toads everywhere.
I
But
got a farm of
I
toads.
I don't know, Jason. Like, I think it's like doing good tattoo is important, but I think it has to do with, just making sure the client has a great experience. I think that's my only concern.
Ricardo, are you still waking up over there?
Yeah, I am.
Usually you're like right on point with like, something awesome to jump in.
I'm debating. I'm wondering if what you're asking for is like, what do we visualize ourselves as, and how do we identify, is what you're asking?
Pretty much,
with,
yeah.
With people around us. I think it's important to have some kind of classification for yourself, for sure. And I can see how saying that you're a tattoo artist to yourself is an important one of them, for sure, because you have to have like some kind of direction.
Right.
And I think it is good, and I think it is kind of important to be able to clarify to yourself and to other people. Yeah, yes, I do tattoos, because I have found myself before in certain like different crowds and stuff like that, and be like, they ask me what I do. I go, well, I'm a tattoo artist, and I mumble a lot, so I think people always will automatically go, I'm sorry, what'd you say? So I'm not sure.
I think you enunciate just fine.
Well, thank you. Well, then maybe it's because the fact that they go, wait, you're a tattoo artist. What do you mean you're a tattoo artist? Like, well, yeah, but yeah, it's interesting too, because I've always gone and gravitated towards saying that I'm an artist more than anything else. You know what I mean? So I think where I think it is important, I do kind of identify more as an artist than a tattoo artist. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but I definitely do that.
I agree with that.
Well,
Yeah.
it's, I see a lot of people in this day and age that are so diversified that are like, and not, anyone specific. I've seen this with like 7 or 8 different people that I know, where they are trying to do so many different things in so many different fields.
Yeah.
And they're very young in every field as far as their experience goes.
Mhm, mhm.
So it's, it's difficult. I see their potential, but it's like if they would just focus on one thing and just really excel at that, I think it would do them better in the long run. But-
That's interesting. That's interesting that you say that, because I was actually going to be talking about some of this stuff on Tuesday. And I think it is important to focus on one thing, I think that it's also important not to just tie yourself down to one form of art, or one form of, like, keeping your mind busy, or keeping your hands busy and stuff. Because I think where it is important to focus, important to focus on like a method for certain types of art. I think it's also important to kind of like remember that when you do find interest in other things, that can lend to your overall goal without even realizing that that's the case, like, or realizing that it happened, or putting any intent
Very
into
true.
it whatsoever. I think that it can lend to itself, and it does borrow from each other in that aspect. I don't know. What do you guys
It's a
think
really
about
good
that?
question. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
really good question, man, because I think I've actually asked myself that recently, and I've asked myself this same question like years ago, and there's still an analysis going on about it, because at the end of the day, there is only so much time, and the more that you do the same thing, whether it be tattooing, painting, the more of a specialist you become. But sometimes in certain situations, like if you're a tattoo artist and you paint and you draw, like, and you spend time doing that, in this particular case, it ends up complementing the your priority or your main thing, which is tattooing. And so I think personally, I like to think, right, that it's healthy to actually engage in other mediums, even as a committed tattoo artist, because it tends to amplify your vision when as a tattoo artist kind of thing. It just complements it. But it's an interesting question, because there is only so much time, and you want to have an identity, and you want to evolve from that place, and so it's important to ask yourself, like, I like to say that I'm an artist. I never really say tattoo artist unless I have to specify, but I like to say that I'm an artist, right? Because I don't like to limit myself to just being a tattoo artist. I'm a creator kind of thing. I like to create. I like to use my imagination, and that wouldn't be limited to just a tattoo artist. But that is my profession. That is how I make money.
Yeah, this is a very interesting topic, Jason.
For sure.
Well, I found myself the other day sitting down and asking myself, who am I? Right.
Oh.
Which is like a really, really like deep question.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Who am I? Right. Who am I in life? Who am I to other people? Who am I to myself? Who is this being? And I swear I was not on any drugs. And it just really got me thinking about, okay, if this is who I am, how do I recenter? How do I refocus back on that and work on that even more to bring that into a better state of being?
Well, like, who are you, Jason?
I'm an artist of
Mhm.
many mediums. A philosopher occasionally. Maybe. I don't know.
I think
Your goals, right? Like your goals define, like according to what your goals are, you're gonna use that as a reference to make every move you make. To decide if you make one move or another. What's better, what is gonna like get you closer to that goal. And like once you have that goal really clear, then like where you're headed, where you're going, what steps are gonna get you closer and what steps are gonna get you further away.
I mean, are you asking yourself who you are like right now, or are you asking yourself who you are before everything, like who you are in the innards?
No. I mean, over the past week, I've been going through like another process of self-discovery where, I'm doing like a lot of like self-reflective kind of stuff where I'm really trying to analyze like, what are my goals? How can I better improve myself? How can I really start to take who I am, what I do, and how I do it to another level? Which is weird because it usually happens right around this time every year that I hit this point where I like kind of put a lot of things on pause and I just stop and do a lot of self-reflection. So
like a metamorphosis.
Yeah.
Like a butterfly.
Like I'll go into my cocoon for the next month or two and then I'll come back out, right? And I'll be a totally different human being.
With 4 new watches.
I'm not saying that's not possible.
Yeah.
I'm just
Well,
saying
I think it's,
that. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think technically it's a really hard question to ask because there's sometimes that you could doubt yourself and then that's the person that you think you are. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's other times that you can be very positive and very, very influential to yourself, to the people around you. And then other times you can be, over ecstatic. And then that's determining who you are. So like, who really are you is a really good question, and who you really are in your work and stuff like that is influenced by that emotional state, I think, especially as an artist, because we can tend to be pretty self-deprecating sometimes, especially when you think that you are so emotionally tied to your work. That's what defines you as the person that you were trying to find. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's good to kind of realize that there's a separation between your work, what you produce as far as the visual part of it, and like what it is that you're trying to accomplish, because sometimes it doesn't match up. That it doesn't mean that you're a fucking, terrible artist. It doesn't mean that you're a terrible person because of it, but sometimes it definitely feels that way. You're like, God, this sucks. I suck. And other people look at it and they're like, that's fucking great. And you're like, really? Ooh.
Well, that's just like the difference between the viewer perspective and the artistic perspective. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, for example, the great master of Rembrandt, right? I guarantee you, even him would, like, we look at his work and we're like, dude, that's flawless. I don't see a single thing wrong. But I'm sure back in the 1600s, you could see him and he'd be like, this sucks. This is like the worst thing I've done. It's like, because you've been staring at this 2-dimensional object for, however long it took you to do it. So now you see every single wrong thing that's the size of a dime. Whereas the viewer, you just see the overall image, which is what the whole illusion is of art. You want to see the whole overall. So I don't know. That's a weird question for sure, of like who you are as a person or an artist. That definitely like changes throughout time. And I'm sure like the more you do art, the more that question is just going to change and have a different answer every time.
Yeah.
So I think it's the state of being in that moment of who you're going to decide who you are, but that could change within the next 5 minutes,
Can change in a second. That's why it's always good to appreciate that moment for whatever it is.
Human beings are ever-changing wonders. Like, we have the ability to change quickly if we felt like it, because we have that conscious ability to do so and make that awareness of who am I. So really what we should be focusing on is not who am I right now in this minute, but who am I before my mother and father conceived me? Who is that person? Who am I to continue on this being?
That's like a whole new level of like deep.
Yeah. You took it to another level.
Well, it's like a true factor. It's a statement. It's
No,
true.
for sure. It's true. I don't think
What
that
is
we're
that?
probably gonna ask ourselves this question in the near future because I think it's healthy to do so. You know, like Kira just said, right? Like, you know, like the only constant is change. And a year from now, we're gonna be different. You know, there's gonna be a lot of things different about ourselves. And it's gonna be good for us to ask ourselves this question again, you know, to make sure that according to where we are in the moment, we're headed in the right direction. We're taking the right steps that match our goals and our identity.
Yeah, well, let's take it in this factor before I say hello to the new people that came in. Jason, let me ask you this question, right? When you first met me compared to who I am now, is there a complete difference of person?
Yeah.
Okay, did it take a long time for that to really like happen, or did it kind of just like almost happen overnight?
In the grand scheme of things, it pretty much happened overnight because it only took a few months.
So, like, what do you think is happening with yourself as an artist? You think that it's happening like that spanned out of time, or do you think it's happening that quickly? You're just not noticing it, but everybody else around you is.
I don't know.
So do you identify
I
that?
can't answer that because I can't answer from other people's perspectives.
That's
Exactly.
true. That is
That's
true.
the goal to look from what's outside of yourself. That's the goal, to be able to see things from outside of yourself. So that's detachment to a certain point.
Yep.
Sorry to get like super deep on you guys.
We got real deep this morning. Well,
That's a good question, man. Because you know, if you don't have that clear, then you know, like
no, exactly,
or at least a little clear. Yeah, no, that's a good thing to reflect on.
We got Matthew Jackson and our grand friend Melissa Sink in here. You guys want to say hello?
Hey guys.
How's it going, guys?
Good morning.
Good. What you guys making?
Right now, I'm working on I've got a portrait this week of Grace from the craft. So I'm just
That's fun.
For it, yeah.
That's super fun. Are you excited for that one?
Oh, for sure. I've been doing horror every day this month, so.
That's so great.
Yeah, it's super fun.
That's awesome. And how are you, Melissa? I see you
good,
chugging along as always.
I am playing with a design of choice at the moment.
Oh,
ooh,
that's fun. I like that. See, I like the detached skull thing there. I tried doing that in my painting here, but it ended up being something completely different.
So are you using the Fibonacci, the golden ratio to like
to give
make sure that
some depth.
Oh, that's going to be in the design. That's not just a thumbnail.
No. It's basically just some flow lines for me to work with. But like, if you notice, this one's a little bit bigger and it's brought forward a little bit, so I'm kind of pulling the eye this way, but with a double.
Oh, okay. Well, that's so grand.
I'm just using it to kind of place my elements to figure out where I want to set things, and then it'll go away.
Perfect. Well, thank you both of you for joining us. Thank you everybody for joining us. This is super fun. Bruno, what are you working on today?
Yeah, I just recently spoke to my client and he kind of changed things up on me a little bit. That's why I was able to join in. Now I got to draw a little bit more, but I'll show you just a second.
Oh. Bruno, you're on mute. Just want to let you know, bud.
Oh, whoops. I put it on mute because I was like taking the phone off of the thing. My bad. So, yeah, no, I have a client that he wants to cover something up, and this is like a piece of a painting of mine that he really likes. And I thought about, doing like an alternate version of it that is a little bit less abstract and more like tattooable, more defined. And so I put this together for him. I was hoping that he would dig it, and he does, but he really likes the chaos on this one and how abstract everything is. So he loves like to have a million colors. No matter what I tell him, he always wants like every color I got. His tattoo. So we're gonna do something along these lines. And I'm just putting together sort of a stencil so that I can. A lot of it I'm gonna kind of just kind of let it flow in the moment, but I'm just putting together a sort of a stencil so I can get some of these curves in there, and these little like spaceship thingies, and probably some of the splatter I'll probably stencil a little bit just to be able to move along quicker. So that's what I got going on at one.
That's nice. Are you excited or are you a little nervous? Like, what's your mindset
No.
right now?
Yeah, no, honestly, I'm not nervous at all. I'm excited for sure. I like to prepare more than I have for this project. He didn't get back to me about the design until last night, so it kind of put me in the spot. But I'm gonna go for it, and just like let it flow and have a ton of fun. Because it's abstract. So as long as I'm in the moment, as long as I don't get distracted and I enjoy myself when I'm doing it, I'm sure it's gonna. So I'm excited for sure. That's the answer.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I'm glad that you have a nice, fun session in store for you. That's fantastic. Ricardo, you said that you were working on your upcoming client. Do you want to show us what you got going?
Yeah. Let me check it out. Let me flip this thing around. Hold on. Get out of that light. There you go.
Cool.
Yeah, just playing with the shapes and stuff right now, and starting to do some edges on it. I'm gonna get rid of these little leaves that I thought they could be attached to the tree, but I don't think it looks kind of out of place already. So I'm just gonna get rid of that. And I think I'm gonna mess with the angle of this flame for this campfire and have it kind of come up. And I'm trying to figure out how to border off this edge. So I think I'm gonna use some like of the edges of the flame that kind of come up around the whole piece. And I really want this one to be a little bit more linear than most of my stuff. So I'm going to tighten up everything once I get the shapes down and kind of go from there.
Is that for a tattoo?
Yeah, it'll be for a tattoo.
That's for a upper arm?
That'll be for a forearm. I'm going to taper it as well.
Oh, forearm.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm going to taper it out as well.
I like the shape.
Thank you. Yeah, I figured that the top of the form could be here, and then I'll start to kind of V it down on both sides.
Right.
Yeah, draw most of it, make a part of a stencil, and then draw like the borders. I think is what I'll do, is draw the borders on the sides whenever he gets here.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's gonna be pretty fun. I think this guy will be pretty silhouetted. So there'll be some like medium washes back here. This will be pretty dark.
Are you gonna, for the silhouette of the guy, right? In order to avoid him being like completely black.
Yeah.
Are you gonna like maybe soften some of the areas, have him go like from dark to like a wash?
Yeah, exactly.
Create some of those. Cool.
Yep, you got it. So it'd be like the back edges here will be kind of. Hold on one second. Let me get this guy going. The dark edges will be kind of tightened up a little bit more, and then blend them out towards that light source.
Exactly. Nice, man.
Yeah,
I should have done that when I did the palm trees recently. I did some palm trees for sunset.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up like coloring them all black.
Mm-hmm.
But thinking through it, I kind of felt like maybe I should have done something where it's not so solid black. I kind of put it there towards the points of light.
I think it's so interesting that like as tattooists, it's very important to have your field of black, but at the same time as artists, we look at like that field of black and we're like, ugh. In certain instances.
Yeah, totally. Entirely, man. It's fucking crazy. And then sometimes you don't have enough, and sometimes you're like, oh shit, I should have put more.
Yeah. And then you see it healed and you're like, fuck.
Yeah, fuck. Well, you know what the best part is though, is that like at least you can get back in if it's too light. If it's too dark, then it's too dark.
Yeah, you're definitely kind of screwed there, aren't you?
Yep. So Yeah, so I'll keep playing around with this and I'll go from there.
Awesome. I have my little painting I've been working on here, chugging along. I started this at the Paradise BYOB, and I kind of wish that I didn't, or at least took my time a little better. I feel like all day yesterday, all I was doing was like just trying to fix proportions that I was making arbitrarily or just, with nonchalantly at Paradise BYOB. But I'm having a lot of fun with the color palette a lot, and I like doing skulls because they have a lot of like grooves and textures and markings and all that stuff. So, but I'm definitely gonna fix the eyes some more and the bridge of the nose. I was mainly focusing on that bottom jaw area, like the majority of yesterday. But it all just needs to be adjusted. So, yeah, but I wanted our topic today, I guess, to be about paint companies, like our favorite paint companies. And I prefer Liquitex. I tried these Liquitex heavy bodies. These ones here, these little guys. These little guys, right? I like these a lot.
Are those the ones you were using at the BYOB that you loved that were kind of like oily?
Well, like they're just like super, super thick. But I kind of wish, once again, I didn't use them so quickly, but I think I was just messing with them and playing around. And so pretty much like these, let me unscrew the cap here. So they're just like super opaque and let's see if that'll. They're very, very, very opaque. I had Cardo try it out too when he was at the Paradise BYOB, since he mostly does like oils and stuff. It gets pretty sticky once you start moving it around, pretty tacky. But other than that, I like them a lot. And you can really, a little bit goes a long way, and you can really make some opaque colors. Usually, it's definitely an adjustment because usually with the thinner acrylics, you can just pretty much dry brush it. And with this, if you dry brush it, you're going to make a very tacky, thick painting. So there's definitely variables that you have to pay attention to. But other than that, I think they're great, especially for like finite details, to make those details like as opaque as possible or as saturated as possible right away. I think they're great. But I've been using Liquitex forever. So I just wanted to be open-minded to other paint brands. So even oil paint brands, because maybe I will transition. So if anybody has any suggestions of what they use, that would be cool.
Golden.
Yeah.
For acrylics, golden.
Why?
Heavier pigment load.
Heavier pigment. Explain.
So golden acrylics actually have more powder per color per tube than Liquitex. Liquitex is great, and it's known to be a student brand, which is great because it's cheap, it's economical, and it works well, right? They have like a professional line, which apparently is more heavily pigmented. I've just found that golden over time tends to be easier to work with and tends to have a higher pigment load than Liquitex. They might not have quite the variety of colors, and they might be a little bit more expensive, but I've personally found that if I'm working with acrylics, golden is going to be like my base. And then from there, I'll go into like super fancy ones if I need to, but
what are the super fancy ones?
The super fancy ones?
Yeah.
Let me go find.
I gotta know the fancy ones, Jason.
So I picked up 1 or 2 tubes of these from for the Paradise BYOB. Stick into the art supplies. These are my super fancy ones.
Ooh. Intense black.
Charbon.
Please.
That's pretty cool. All right.
Yeah, these are they're heavy body, but they are awesome. Some of like the most heavily pigmented acrylics I've ever used.
Okay. Where do you get those, online, or you go to like Jerry's or something?
Jerry's. I do not like these Sam I Am.
Mm.
I only use these if I absolutely have to. Galleria, I think they are. I'm not a big fan. I do not like them. Sam I Am. Turner's is great. The acrylic gouache. I really started to like these. They dry very, very matte. But they work and blend like a nice standard medium body acrylic.
Right.
Obviously I've got plenty of Liquitex in here.
I like that
because yeah, I know. The industrial size tube of what is this? Bright aqua green.
Yep, that's what I use. That's so funny. That's a giant ass tube. I'm gonna have to pick myself up one of those.
I was gonna say you use it for everything because it's a universal color. So
it is a universal color.
You like those Academy ones?
What?
The Grumbatcher, I think it is. Academy.
Yeah, those are decent.
So, these are good. These are my favorites in acrylics, the Academy ones. And they're reasonable. They're not the most expensive. They work pretty well.
I also like Eternal.
So you use Eternal Pigments for painting? Is that for like liquid acrylic, like for your little goldfish friend?
Yeah, for some of it. You know, the Jess Yen series is awesome. Love those. But yeah, I'll throw some of those in every now and then.
Oh, look at him. Oh, he's coming out so good.
Oh.
Hi, Clarence.
Looks great.
He is not Clarence.
He totally looks like a Clarence. I want him to have
You
a
do
monocle.
not call Sir Edward Fishington III Clarence.
Clarence.
Name's Clarence.
His name is Sir Edward Fishington III.
Clarence P. Sherman.
Fishington.
All of them have to have silly names like that.
Third generation.
Oh, third generation. Yeah.
So that's my 2 cents on brands.
Yeah, I've been just using Liquitex, and when Guy was a little while ago, when Guy was going over like some of our works that we submitted for us, he like really made it clear that I should be expanding my palette of things that I use. So I was just realizing that I'm pretty married to Liquitex. Well, besides this pigment, this loose pigment that I picked up at when we went to Miami, this stuff here is so rad. This, you could pretty much make your own paints from it. But I use like an egg tempera to make this, and I used a little bit in this painting, just to like switch it up. But you know, and
that turned out awesome.
Yeah, when I was in Miami with Ricardo and Bruno, Bruno saw me going like crazy in his kitchen, breaking apart eggs to make paints, like, like a weirdo.
Yeah, it was super cool.
But pretty much like you take like an egg and you hold it in your hand and you pretty much run it under cold water. You get rid of all like the white part. So it's just the yolk, and you rinse off the yolk, and you have just the yolk in your hand, and you got like a bowl underneath you. And then you take the yolk and you kind of like flip it around in your hands so it gets a little drier. And then you like pick up the yolk by just like the sack part, and then just like kind of like do a quick snap of the wrist and it breaks open. And then you throw the sack part away, and the liquid that's inside, all that yolk stuff, is what you paint with. It's fucking wild. And Ricardo the whole time was like, that doesn't smell.
Yeah, I figured that it would.
No,
Mhm.
it did not smell. We smelled it. Yep, but that's pretty much all I use. So that's why I wanted to ask because I don't think I have any other brands here besides like cheaper brands like Artist Loft, which I think everybody's tried before. Artist
Some of
Loft.
those cheaper brands like Basic or whatever, they just get in the way.
Oh,
Like they're
some
so
of them.
difficult to use. Uh-huh.
Some of it, like if it was like a pure, I mean, I could be wrong, but if it was like pure white or black, like this is what I use for my white. It's just like a super cheap apple barrel white.
Oh yeah.
Like it's like super thin. So it actually helps out because if I'm using like a white base anyway, I want it to be thinner. So that way it just glides easier. I don't want it to be like super opaque because anything like white that I'm using is either going to be a highlight or it's going to be like a glaze type thing, just like tint an area. And then for my black, I just have just Artist Loft black. I don't know. I don't really use white or black too terribly often unless it's like an ambient occlusion type situation where I can apply like heavy amounts of black. But other than that, I really won't use it that often. Oh, we got Charlie.
Charlie?
Yeah, he's doing his
He-
rounds.
What does he use when he paints?
He likes catnip and toy mice, and I've wanted to get like those like safe acrylics that he can step on, but I don't think, knowing him, he'll probably eat it. So we've just skipped that whole process because I think it's just gonna end badly, messy. He'll run away, get it all over my house. So we just said no to that.
Well, guys, I'm gonna have to jump off so I can get this drawing finished. And I'll it was a pleasure being here today. Thanks for all the good conversation and stuff today.
That's great, Cardo. All right, cool. So if
Yeah,
you're signing
buddy.
off, then
Yeah.
you can tell everybody where they can find you and your classes on Tuesdays that are great.
Thanks.
You can talk about the space-time continuum.
The flux capacitor, right? No, my name is Ricardo Sertivant. You can catch me Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern time on Reinventing the Tattoo, the drawing classes. Come on in. Yeah, like Kire said, I talk about all kinds of stuff. Some art related, mostly what Jason brought up earlier today, as far as the concept of what we are as an artist or as a person. And I think it's important to realize that the two are pretty married together. So yeah, I talk a lot about that. And it's always good to have everybody else's input and conversation on it, whether you agree with me or not. And if you definitely disagree with me, then definitely get a hold of me and let's talk about it. So, but yeah, that's been cool. It's been good to see everybody. I hope everybody has a good day.
Have a good day,
Adios, friends.
You too,
Cardo.
buddy.
Peace.
Take care.
See you,
Peace.
buddy.
See ya.
Awesome. So we have a comment here. I don't know. Oh, there we go. Have a comment here. It says, I'm having artist block, hate life currently. So that leads into a good question. What does everybody do for artist block? And is artist block a thing or is it just a mental state? So I'm opening the floor. Go ahead, people. And Jason leaves.
I'm out. I'm out.
This is not the topic I want to talk about right now. So what does everybody do for their artist block that they get into?
Personally, for me, I like to just try a different medium and try to work on something that I know I'm not good at. That gives me something to focus on, a goal, and usually having a goal kind of brings me out of a block.
That's interesting. Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. Definitely trying out a new medium, or I've learned to just go outside.
Yeah, sure.
Because sometimes what I do is I get so hyper focused on like the project that I'm working on, or just like art in general, and I forget that there's like an actual life outside of that I can go enjoy. And that sometimes sparks the inspiration that you need to continue your painting or whatever the heck you're doing. So that's definitely a good thing.
But it's scary outside.
I know.
There are people.
Danger.
There are people outside, and they can be scary.
Not always, not really anymore. There's less people now than ever before outside.
I remember, Marcus Lenhart on one of his seminars, he talked about the artist block, and like what he would do is he would go, like what you just said, Kire, like he would go out on a little trip, on his bike with his dog and just explore and just kind of do anything other than like tattooing or drawing, and kind of get him, just kind of disconnect completely so that you kind of miss it, so that you kind of want to get back to it. And usually, he shared that he would get back to it and then he would just have like a fresh mind. New things would pop up, inspiration from the going outdoors, whatever it may be, like doing something other than drawing or tattooing. Is the artist block with tattooing or art?
Well, that's a good question. If the person that commented is still listening, let us know what you're having artist block on. What it is, what it is specifically. I know I've learned, and from my shop, you told me to go outside more often, but I've gone to like different museums and stuff like that and been inspired that way, like galleries with like masters' works in it. Like you can get inspired to do something out of your element, studying something new, picking a new topic to focus on that may instill some creativity and or inspiration, or maybe just take a nap. Maybe you just need to take a nap.
I have to agree with Matt Jackson on this one. Personally, I find setting a goal, and trying to use a medium that you're not usually used to, and, or like a subject matter that, you need to work on a bit more and just plow through it, just become completely obsessed with being better at that. And I usually find that just by having that focus and that goal, it's next thing I know, I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. Let's do something like this. Yeah, that'll be cool. And next thing you know, I've got like 6 new paintings.
Yeah. Geez, I lost my paintbrush.
How did you?
Well, like I just went to turn it. Look at it. It's gone.
I wanted to share something that I'm actually doing, that I'm currently like doing to help. I don't know if I have like an artist block, but sometimes I just don't know, like when coming up with something new, like I don't know, like what it is that I want to do. I kind of get a little stuck. And what I've started to do is thanks to Jason, that he was so kind to give me this awesome fucking little sketchbook. It's really small. And so I've started to just, sit down and draw like whatever comes out, like real abstract without thinking, and just relaxing into a situation where you're just doodling around, and there's no judgment, and you just kind of let like your subconscious take over the drawing, and that to me has been really helpful with just kind of keeping myself loose when I draw and kind of like transferring the quick ideas that I get in my head, like in these drawings that are so relaxed. There's really no pressure at all. It's just all, relaxing into the moment with no judgment, and that seems to have helped me. Like because every time that I do a little sketch, I'm just kind of like transferring. I'm getting used to transferring the things that are in my head, and into the paper, and so that was kind of helpful. Yeah. Just wanted to share that. I don't know if it's gonna work for everyone, but but just doing it on a daily basis, at least, half an hour at some point in the day. And if I get a chance, twice.
Yeah, no, I get that a lot. All right, I truly understand that. I think like between like an artist block and burning out, there's like a fine line there too. Like when I first experienced my first ever burnout, and it was horrible, but I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to like draw. I didn't want to paint. I just wanted to like lay on the floor and stare at my ceiling and let the day go by. And then that instilled an artist block, because every time I'd sit down and do something, because I knew I had to do something, nothing would come out. I'd be like, I don't know. And what I've started doing is like I have like a hat or a jar of just topics, and I just like shake it up and just like pick one, and I have to do it, and it's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The universe chose me to do that subject, so like it's just one of those situations that you have to like place yourself in the situation and like force yourself to get through whatever it is. And I'm not saying you have to make like the next Picasso masterpiece, but it still has to be something that is coming from the dome and onto a two-dimensional object of some sort. Because that way it's going to keep you consistent, and consistency in this industry is key.
And you just reminded me, right? Like you said that you put like little subjects on the jar, right? And one thing I forgot to mention about these little sketches that might make the whole idea make a little more sense is that when I start the sketches, I just like move the pen around and like do like a scribble, right? Just let it flow almost with my eyes closed, because I use a big pen. And so once that is on the paper, I just try to find whatever it is that my subconscious sees on the doodle. And I just go for that, like the decision has been made. Like I've seen something, so I'm going to develop it. There's no more thinking that I need to do anymore. Like in your case, you just pick out something from the basket. That's it. That's what you're going to develop, so it's kind of like a similar thing,
You know what that's called? That's called a reverie. So pretty much a reverie is pretty much when you sit down and you just have a blank piece of paper or whatever the hell you're doing, and you have no subject in mind, you have nothing whatsoever, and you take like, I don't know, like 30 seconds to 5 minutes, and you just like go. And that's called a reverie. It's a common compositional exercise that a lot of artists do before sitting down and doing their project, to get their minds woken up to the idea that they're doing some stuff.
Get woke, Bruno. Get woke.
So you can look up other artists' reveries. I think it's Reveries, reveries. They have a whole bunch of them online of just like literally scribbles, but then they take that scribble and turn it into something amazing, or that scribble inspires them to make whatever composition they want to make. I was playing a lot of that sort of game in my apprenticeship. My mentor and other friends of mine would like just draw a scribble on a piece of paper and like pass it to me and just make something out of this. And you can turn it any way you want, but you got to make some sort of composition out of just a bunch of these scribbles. And it works a lot, really, to exercise your brain to the idea of making compositions straight from your head without using reference of anything or have any sort of direction of where it's going.
Absolutely. That was one of the things that I took from the seminar with Jake Meeks, that it was all about like finding your own style. And one of the things that he does to kind of keep his like hand motions, on the drawing, on the composition, that he like his unique hand motions, that nobody else has. Before he even like goes to find a reference to help himself define what he's drawing, he'll like get as far as he can, from his head with like, let's say that if he had to draw a goldfish, right? Like he'll, just draw that goldfish from his head up to the point where he just, that's it, as far as he gets. And after he finally did that, then he finds a reference and helps himself for the little things. But on the sketch, his hand, his style, is already there, and so I thought that was really interesting, just like keeping yourself from that reference until the time is right, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it's a very common misconception that you, as an artist, you have to come up with a composition and then immediately make it into what you perceive as a masterpiece, which isn't always the case. Like you can just draw napkins or at a restaurant and then leave it there when you leave. Or you can like draw people in a subway. You can just like doodle just to doodle. You don't have to, pick a subject and then in return make whatever project that's going to take umpteen amount of hours. So sometimes artist block isn't always like not coming up with a composition, but it's more so just what can I do to pass the time and or get myself inspired and motivated to do said bigger project, because it takes a lot of time and energy and focus to do bigger projects. And I think you got to give yourself a little bit of credit when doing stuff like that. We have the comment here that says, I'm starting to think it's the digital transition, which I'm assuming that means going from graphite to like digital medium. Maybe you can highlight on that. But I can understand if you're having artist block with digital stuff. Truthfully, I only really use digital art for like tattooing stuff. I really like colored pencils and like actual medium that I can touch. Because sometimes I'll just like put my whole hand on my canvas, just like touch it. Because it feels nice. And it's like, okay, this is something that I'm making like that I can actually touch rather than just print out and whatnot. So definitely my advice would be to switch up your medium if you're having trouble with digital stuff, because it's not for everybody. I don't know. That's just me.
Hey guys, speaking of which, I'm getting ready to head out. I'm heading out to Jerry's, so wish me luck.
Good luck, buddy. Don't buy everything.
Fun. Yeah, don't buy everything.
We'll see what happens.
All right, well, let me spotlight you then, and then you can tell everybody where they can find you, all that fun stuff.
Hey guys, my name is Jason Leeser. I host the Sunday afternoon drawing groups at 1 p.m. Sundays Eastern. Come join me. It's a blast. We always talk about interesting things and get some interesting people on. I'm also going to be interviewing Chris Dunn from Deadly Tattoos coming up November 7th at 5 p.m. Eastern time. It's going to be an interview that you do not want to miss. We've got tons of great topics lined up. Lots of great advice for artists of all different types of mediums. It's going to be an absolute blast. You definitely don't want to miss out on that. And that's November 7th at 5 p.m.
Perfect. Thank you, Jason. Thank you so much
You're
for
very
coming
welcome.
on. Have
Thank
a
you
wonderful
guys.
day.
Thank you for having me. And wish me luck at Jerry's.
Buddy.
Yes, we wish you
Good
luck,
luck,
buddy.
man. Have a great day, bro.
Wish
Will
you
do.
and your
Take care,
wallet
guys.
luck. Bye. That's awesome. Well, that's a good turning point here. Let me see. Let's go around and let's see everybody's what they're working on, and then we can do our sign-offs that way. It's just about like that hour time. I have to go pick up my new car today, so I gotta go deal with that.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start with Melissa. Hi, Melissa. What's going on? You got a lot going on in just that small amount of time.
Still just doodling, having fun with it. This is actually what I do when I'm kind of like drained artistically. I start something that I want to do. So yeah, that's where I'm at this morning. You can
Perfect.
find me on Instagram at MAC_MISSA. I'm located out in Staten, Oregon. And,
Awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, Melissa. I just have a quick question about your composition here. Are you going to be doing color or black and gray? You're going to keep it line work? What you plan on doing with that?
So I'm actually going to be painting this in a little bit more of a Craig Driscoll style, just because it's kind of fresh and poppy. So it's a little bit out of my style, but it's more like graphical.
Oh, okay. Well, that's awesome, Melissa. I can't wait to see it, on the canvas and ready to go.
Thank you.
All right, we got Matthew Jackson. You switched up your composition there. I want to see.
Yeah. So my wife's also an artist, so we're kind of doing a kind of an experiment. So she stenciled this, and now she wanted me to stencil it just to see how different our stencils would be. So just something for fun.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's such a cool project that you and your
Yeah.
wife are doing. That's awesome.
Yeah, just to kind of compare our process basically.
All right. Well, that's awesome that you guys are so open to doing that. That's amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. All right. Well, where can people find you?
On Instagram, it's just Matt Jackson Tattoos.
Awesome.
They're the best way.
Perfect. I can't wait. I hope you post up both of the side by sides. I'd love to see both of your guys' takes on that stenciling.
Yeah, for sure. I'll definitely do that.
Perfect. All right. And Bruno. Hi, Bruno.
Yeah. I love the way you say hi to me. So it just puts me in a good mood. Yeah, my name is Bruno Salvatierra, and you can find me on Instagram at Prismus_art. And oh, my battery 10%. And yeah, like, this is awesome, Kira. I had a great time. Thanks for hosting it. Thank you guys for showing up. Matt, Melissa, and great to see Ricardo and Jason get together like this and talk art. And it's awesome. So
That's
thanks
awesome,
for doing
Bruno.
it here.
Yeah, of course. And let's see here. We got my little painting. I really didn't do a lot, but as going on with the awesome topics that were happening. But pretty much this is what I got going on so far. If we can adjust it even a little bit. So pretty much what I'm going to focus on when I come home are these little swirlies, because I think what's common that happens is I will focus on one area of the whole painting until it's like pretty much finished, and then the rest of it will look so unfinished that it bothers me even more. So I'm gonna take focus on just the swirlies and get them actually looking like they belong with this skull. And then we zoom in just a little bit. And then we're gonna hone in on these colors that are in here and the teeth that are here. I hate doing teeth, but they need to be done. And fix the proportions a little bit. This side of the face could be shaved off just a little bit as well with the top of the skull here. But that's the tricky thing with skulls and human faces, is that they're so recognizable that even the smallest little wrong movement is, crucial for the whole composition. So we're gonna be focusing on that when we get back home. Let me switch my camera over here and do my sign off. Thanks, Bruno.
Mhm.
Let me see here. Is that the right one? This is possibly, with Zoom and everything, it's so tough to still do. All right. That was super fun. We got a lot of comments on here. Everybody saying good morning. Good morning to Akshay. This person has a wonderful name, Pig on the Basement.
Okay.
I love that. So good morning to everybody that's been listening on all the streaming devices. This was a super fun class here. My name is Kirsten Franklin. I am the host of the Monday Morning Drawing Group, which is right now. And I also host the Thursday morning fundamental classes. That's at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And you can find it right on here on the same sites, Reinventing the Tattoo app and our YouTube here. We've been doing perspective, but with the closing of perspective and this month, we've been discussing a lot of different things to do, because I've been touching base on a lot of different fundamentals and I've been repeating myself a whole bunch. So I'm trying to come up with new subjects to talk about that may just give you new information, new insight, and new inspiration. So keep in touch and keep a lookout. And that's something you definitely don't want to miss out on. Great information and great way to start your day. You can find me on Instagram at Frankie Says Things, or on Reinventing the Tattoo at Frankie Tattoos Things. I post all my content there, all my tattoos, all my art, all my prints. I'll probably post updates about this too. If you are interested, feel free to take a listen and or a follow. other than that, it was wonderful seeing everybody. This is the point in time, let's see, where we say goodbye and we wave as I close out. So goodbye, everybody. Stay safe out there, and I hope everybody
Today is the
has a
day.
wonderful